Remember what we said? We said that if we have, this is the formula that I gave you guys, right? I told you that n factorial is what? Is the number of ways to arrange what? n עצרת זה מספר n פריטים בשורה או n פריטים בטור, נכון? So, let's assume that you were to have, you know, it's difficult for me to solve it whenever I can't solve a question, right? I ask myself whether it's a must question or a maybe question, and if it's a maybe question, I'll plug in answer choices in order to confirm. And if it's a must question, I plug in comfy numbers, right? I plug in comfy numbers in order to eliminate, right? Or, by the way, plug in also helps in order to understand exactly what the question is about. So, here, I don't know what's going on with 8 books. Forget about it. Let's assume I have 3 books. How many ways are there to arrange 3 books on a shelf?
3 factorial.
3 factorial, right? Okay, so I plug in comfy numbers in order to understand what's going on, right? So if I have 8 books, obviously it's going to be 8 factorial, agreed? But now, there's something weird here, right? 3 of them are advanced math. So you know what? How many stages do I have? 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay. That was luck. So let's assume that I have math 1, math 2, and math 3. You know, so this is again a plug-in of a comfortable scenario. I'm just thinking about one scenario. Remember what we said? We said how many stages, and we indicate a characteristic, and we indicate the number of options, right? And then we ask ourselves, does the order matter? האם סדר הבחירה משנה? אני מבקש לשמור שקט. האם סדר הבחירה משנה? Question. Does the order matter here? Yeah. Does the order matter?
Yes.
Only in the first one.
If M2 is going to be here, and M1 is going to be here, and M3 is going to be here, doesn't matter. No, it doesn't, right? הסדר לא משנה. לא משנה. And if the order does not matter, why? Because these 3 math books are identical math books, exactly. So if the order doesn't matter, if you deal with 3 items, what do? You divide by 6 by 3 factorial, right? And what about the physics 1 and physics 2? If they trade places, doesn't matter.
No.
No, it doesn't matter. So what do? You divide by 2 or 2 factorial. The correct answer choice is
B.
Got it? בעצם מה ששכחת לעשות, צריך להגיד לשמונה עצרת?
כן, אבל לא פה קיבלתי בשמונה עצרת.
נכון. מה ששכחת לעשות זה לשאול את עצמך, כמו שהיית צריכה לפי השיטה, האם סדר הבחירה משנה, נכון?
אני חושבת שחשבתי שהוא כן משנה.
זהו, וזו טעות. אז עוד פעם, מצאת פעמיים בעצם, twice I ran into a roadblock here. So what did I do? I plugged in either comfy numbers or comfortable scenarios. The comfortable scenario here was M1, M2, M3, or P1, P2, and this helped me to solve the question. תמיד להציג מספרים הולכים או תרחישים הולכים. Yeah. By the way, this question on the examination, on your examination, is about a 90th percentile question. Only 1 in 10 people will solve this question correctly. Who solved this question correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4. So about half of us solved it correctly. So for us, it was a 50th percentile question. For the population at large, it's going to be a 90th percentile question, which is fantastic for you guys as a class, but still it's not sufficient. I want everybody to solve this question, because even though it's a very difficult SAT question, we know we have all the knowledge to solve it. Yeah? You wanted to add something? No? Yep.
אם זה כן היה משנה הסדר.
So it would just have been 8 factorial. נכון, 8 עצרת. נכון. Yep.
I don't get, what does it matter that they're identical?
Oh, absolutely matters. If they were not identical, let's assume that math 1 would not have been the same exact thing as math 2, right? If they were to trade places, if instead of M1, M2, M3, I would have had M2, M1, M3, does the order matter? Is this a different way to arrange these books compared to this? Is this a different? It is, right? So that would have meant that you would have left the 8 factorial as is. But if the order does not matter, you need to divide. Got it? So you would have gotten a simply different answer. Yeah, so go ahead.
No, but...
Do you remember the MO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I get you put the slots.
Yep.
And then...
And I didn't think about the other books, you know, books A, B, C, the other 3 books. I was just talking about the 5, of which 3 are identical and 2 are identical. And we're just looking at the identical books. If they were to trade places, you know, I couldn't care less. So in fact, I don't have a factorial ways of arranging it. I have less. Why?
Oh, so you count. Okay, so you count them as each as the same book, like you.
Exactly. Exactly.
I was thinking like it's the same.
That is what.
Different books.
No, it's not.
Okay.
If they were different books, then they would not have used the word identical. They are different books, but they are identical. Therefore, the arrangement on a bookshelf does not matter. Moving on, please. So, question number 8. Who wanted that one? Who? So, question number 8. And kudos to Noe for doing this. Most people, once they go through a handout, they don't like looking at it again. And that's the wrong way to go. Remember that this course was actually custom tailored to Israeli students. Israeli students don't get as high a score on the verbal sections. So what we need to do is we need to get a higher score on the quantitative section. Got it? And that means that your course needs to be more difficult than the course, for example, that I taught overseas. So that means that the average level of difficulty here, and on those handouts, the average level of questions on the examination is 50th percentile, right? The average SAT question on the examination, half of the people succeed and half of the people don't succeed. That is, it's usually statistically it's midway through each section, right? On the examination. The average level of difficulty of the handouts is about 70. It's a huge difference. So please go through those. A certain company tags its shipments with either a 5-digit code or a 4-digit code. None of the codes may start with a 0. So I have either a 5-digit code, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many stages, how many slots? 5. Or 4-digit code, 1, 2, 3, 4. None of the codes may start with a 0. אסור, may. אסור, אנחנו אוסרים עליו להתחיל ב-0. Okay, so we said mark the number of slots and then write down the characteristic. Here, I'm not allowed to use a 0. I'm not allowed to use a 0. Here, I'm allowed to use a 0 through 9. A 0 through 9, so on and so forth, right? This is the same exact thing. This is the same exact thing. Yeah, probably. No, correct. So here, if I'm not allowed to use a 0, right? How many options do I have?
9.
9. Here, if I am not allowed, that's going to be a 9 as well. Here, how many options am I going to have? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And the question is, what is the ratio of the number of 5-digit codes to the number of 4-digit codes? So that means I need to divide. Always simplify before you multiply. 3 10s are going to be canceled out. The 9 is going to be canceled out, and you got a 9 instead of a 10, and the correct answer choice is C.
Why not 9?
Now did you get it? Questions. This was very methodical based on the MO that we talked about. Again.
What's the number 9?
I'm sorry? Oh, question 9, yeah. Please, don't be bashful. If you have a question that you want to add, go ahead. Question number 9. Now, did we 9C or just 9?
9C.
9C. Yeah, which is something I skipped, right? Pretty easy. Hopefully today I'm going to finish all the questions that you guys have. Yeah. So remember what we said. The second formula we've talked about. No, it was n times. What is this? What is this? Pop quiz. What is this? So, מספר לחיצות הידיים הוא מספר זוגות שניתן ליצור. The number of pairs that you can create. The next formula I taught you was n-1 factorial. What is that?
Number of ways.
Yeah. The number of ways to arrange n item. The number of ways to arrange מצוין תלכון.
Smiley? Yes.
The number of ways. Totally worth it. The number of ways to arrange n items in a circle. So, we have 6 people are to be seated at the table. If there are no restrictions, it's going to be 6 minus 1 factorial, and that's going to be 5 factorial, and that's going to be 120. Remember that question 9b, and we've solved it together, was 2 people must be seated next to each other. So we said, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is something I didn't have to do on the previous question, but now I do have to, work slightly more methodically. So I have 6 slots, but let's say these 2 people have to be seated next to one another. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 people that are rotating, right? And we said if there are 5 people who are rotating, it's going to be 4 factorial ways of arranging them. But we also said that we have, for each of those, כמה זה 4 צד? גם את זה ביקשתי מכם ללמוד על פה?
מה?
כמה זה 4 צד? How much is 4? 24. איך עשיתם את זה? 3 הצד כפול 4, נכון? במקום לזכור ש4 צד זה 24. בסדר לזכור את זה בבקשה. So, we said that for each one of these 24 arrangements, we have the black arrangement, but we also have the blue arrangement, right? So we said altogether we have, the order does matter, right? So what do? We multiply by 2, and that is 48. Now, why am I showing you 9A and B? Because 9C was built on these questions. Now the question was, the 2 specific people must not be seated next to one another. So if I'm talking about A and B, let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then A and B is not allowed. So if A is here, B can sit here, 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 but not here. And it's in a circle. And it's I agree with you, it's very, very difficult to come up with a mathematical solution that is going to think about all of the desirable options.
אני עשיתי פשוט את כל האפשרויות, פחות האפשרות שהם ישבו ביחד.
Brilliant. That's it. That is why question 9C is 9C. Listen, if you want what is allowed, right?
very nice.
Just take the total and subtract what is not allowed. כולם מסכימים? כולם מבינים? אם את רוצה את מה שמותר, אז תחסירי מהסך הכל, this is the total, right? This is the total, this is not allowed, right? If you do this minus that, you're going to get what is allowed, what is yes allowed. Got it? So 120 arrangement. 48 of those are consist of ones that, the arrangements where they do sit next to one another. If you subtract, you get a 72. Fantastic. That's it. Now, on this examination, never did you have, to the best of my knowledge at least, question 9C immediately. You had, hints at maybe a 9C, but easier formation, or maybe in a line, which is much, much easier. But you definitely had a 9B or a 9A. But 9C as is did not show up. Good, moving on.
17.
You see, if you go through these, then you take on the examination, it's a piece of cake. It's so much easier compared to this, yeah.
Do they have questions like that where it goes, like they ask one question and then sub-question?
No, they don't. Sometimes they have a certain, they have a certain, set of information, and then they would have 2 questions that refer to that set of information. Got it? But it's not going to be a question.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but you sometimes do have a set. So let's say this would have been, they would have told you, yeah, exactly. So they would have told you question 9 through 10 refer to the following scenario, and this would have been, let's say, question number 9, and this would have been question number 10. Yeah, so that is possible. Moving on. תזכור, אתה זוכר שאמרנו שבבחינה הזו, אם יש יותר מדי מקרים רצויים, רצוי לחשוב על מקרים הלא רצויים. למעשה, אתה נשארת כאן עד הסוף בשיעור הזה? כן? בשיעור הזה של combination? אתה לא זוכר שדיברנו על כך שאם יש את המילה at least, אחד פחות בדיוק. למה? כי המילה at least אומרת שיש כמה מקרים שמתאימים. במקום לחשוב על כל המקרים שמתאימים, תחשוב על מקרים שלא מתאימים, בדיוק. טוב. הלאה בבקשה, שאלה מספר 17, ונוי עושה לכם טובה אדירה, כי כמעט אף אחד לא עבר על זה, ויש פה טריק מטורף.
שאלה 16, אפשר גם.
Yes, let's solve question number 16 first. Question number 16. Set A contains these numbers. Somebody mailed me a question about that today, and I told them, sorry, I'm not going to be able to answer specific questions via an email. If you want, ask me that during the class. You do have the information to solve it. And by the way, if you find a question that you can't solve on the course book, right? The course book, remember that the course book is a real book that everybody around the world knows, which means that you can Google certain questions and you will find a solution. Not always will the solution go to be a good one, but sorry, sometimes it will. So these numbers, set B, these numbers. If two numbers are to be randomly selected, one of each set, what is the probability that the sum of the numbers equals 11? So you want a sum of 11. Now, honestly, I don't know exactly what to do here. So what do? I ask myself, maybe this is a must question. So if it's a must question, what do? We plug in comfy numbers or scenarios, right? So let's plug in a comfy scenario. 1 and?
8.
No.
Nothing.
No, you want a sum of 11, so it's impossible. Got it? So 2 and? 9. Oh, so now it's possible. So I have either a 2 and a 9, or a 3 and an 8, or a 4 and a 7. And that's it. Right? Everybody agrees? Okay. Now, so instead of relating to this at the macro level, I was relating to this at the micro level. I just looked at all the possibilities, right? So 2 and 9, what is the probability of a 2?
1/4.
1/4, fantastic, because you have only one desirable scenario out of 4, right? So this has a scenario of 1/4, right? Each one of these has a scenario, has a probability of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1/7, right? I want both this and that, I multiply, right? And then I need to remember that, what is this? This and this and this, or this or that is going to be. Or that, right? So what do we do if we have an or? We add, exactly. So each one of these is going to have a probability of 1/28, 1/28, 1/28. What do? You add it, and you get 3/28. The correct answer choice is C. That's it. עובד, ממש עובד אחד לאחד.
זה ששמעתי,
כן.
התלבטתי בין B ל-C.
Then B to C. Now, let me ask you something. Does the order matter? Remember what we said? We said, is there a hierarchy?
No.
There is. He's correct. There is a hierarchy. Why? Because these guys belong to group A. And these guys belong to group B. There is a hierarchy. כשמשתייכים לשתי קבוצות שונות, יש בידול. זה לא שכאילו אתה בוחר 3 כדורגלנים מתוך 11, כמה אפשרויות יש לך. זה לא...
חשבתי כאילו על הקבוצות, כאילו הסדר בקבוצות האלה, חשבתי.